and welcome to Tuesdays with Tuesday. I'm Tuesday, and I write fantasy fiction under the name Mary E. Twomey. How do you spell it, you ask? Oh my gosh, I have a visual aid just for you. So you can go to maryetwomey.com and get the rest of this series if you like. Or you can go on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Google Play, iBooks, all those places, and get the next book after you finish this one. This is book 1 of the Tearaway series, which is a 9-part series based in Filipino folklore. I have been reading one chapter a week to you every Tuesday, and we are now on chapter 30. Look at how far we've come. I am so proud of us. So, tuck in and get ready, because I'm reading to you. Chapter 30, My New Dog and Bev's Old Tricks. I had a routine for cleaning my house. First, I did my bedroom, since that hardly took any time at all. Then I did the living room and the 2 spare bedrooms, and I saved the kitchen for last before detailing my car. This morning, everything took twice as long. My sheets had to be washed since Vaughn and a wolf had slept in them. Vaughn had thrown his dirty clothes in a pile on the floor in the corner of my room, so I vacuumed the whole house twice just in case. Vaughn and Danny ate more than I could have imagined. Danny alone consumed 5 egg and ham breakfast sandwiches from the nearest fast food joint, 4 glasses of orange juice, 5 large orders of fries, 7 hash browns, 3 egg burritos, and 2 fruit and yogurt cups. Vaughn and Mason ate double what Danny did, sharing 1 egg sandwich grudgingly when Ollie awoke and grabbed a sandwich off the table before jumping in the shower to start his day. Ollie was a classic long showerer, which gave the others free rein to talk as loud as they wanted about any number of omen-related topics. Mary Ann arrived a few seconds after Ollie disappeared into the shower. She looked at the spread on the kitchen table and gasped. "Oh, did you really take that much from me? Danny, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was that upset." Danny motioned her over and laced his fingers through her frail ones. I noticed them both relax a degree as he pulled some anxiety from her. Though he was calming her by pulling, it looked as if the motion soothed him as well. "No, most of this is for Vaughn and Mason." He jerked his thumb toward me. "The new one's got a lot of baggage to sift through." I glowered at Danny. "Shut your donut hole about my baggage, dude. Not cool." Mary Ann kissed Vaughn's temple, standing between the 2 brothers at the table, while Mason contented himself eating from a plate on the floor at my feet. "You all right?" Vaughn pounded the hand without food in it to his chest. "Are you kidding me? I'm the master. I did it all in my sleep." Mary Ann was clearly impressed. "Wow, good for you. You're a natural. Not that I'm surprised. You're good at everything you put your mind to." Danny didn't look up as he laced acidity into the morning, just to remind us all that he was still on team I hate Vaughn. I guess prostitutes make the best pullers. My face twisted as I glared at Danny for throwing such a wicked curveball out of left field. "What are you talking about? No one in this room is a prostitute." Danny motioned to his brother, whose smile subdued. "Our very own Vaughn was." Ezra pulled him out of the gutter to work doing security at the mansion. Vaughn kept his chin level, refusing to be shamed. I knew that stiff upper lip and feigned serenity. I wore the same expression to keep my sanity when Bev was around. Vaughn gave me an apologetic nod. "That's me. Pay by the hour for a glimpse of what I've got. But you get me for free, love. I won't open a tab for you." Maybe I should have been offended by his crappy joke, but I knew Vaughn was trying to breeze over the blight. I brushed a calm smile onto my face just to show Danny that he didn't have the power over the morning, and to show Vaughn that he was still welcome in my home. Man, you must be absolutely filthy rich if that's how you made money. That brought about a scoff from Danny and a short laugh from Vaughn, who clapped at my compliment. "And Danny, stop being a tool. You're stirring up things that are best left private." I cleared my throat and nodded when Vaughn mouthed his thanks to me. We were talking about Vaughn doing his pulling thing in his sleep, and what a great job he did. See? He sucked most of the murderous rage out of me, so now I only want to pound you a medium amount, Danny. Mary Ann's eyebrows were so high they almost disappeared into her hair. That's very difficult to do. Danny didn't learn how to until weeks after I was awakened. She visibly shrank at casting a disparaging remark on Danny's stellar abilities. Of course he does it seamlessly now. Must be a Vandershot brother thing. Vaughn leaned his head to Mary Ann's side in brotherly affection. See, someone still believes in me. Take note, Danny, old boy. And you didn't need to feed at all? No? His nose scrunched. Actually, I'm fine. Her scrapes are still pretty raw, but I didn't bite her even a little. I shuddered, but Mary Ann threw her arms around Vaughn's neck indulgently. I'm so proud of you. See? Ezra was right. You can hold on to your humanity, no problem. It just takes a little practice. I brought you some honey and a blood bag. Ah, you love me. Give me some sugar, sugar. He leaned his cheek out, grinning when she gave him a sweet peck on his roguish dimple. Of course I do. What's not to love? Mason laid his furry body atop my feet to warm them while he ate, and I felt a portion of my irritation drain out of me like a gentle drip from a leaky faucet. When he wolfed down everything on his plate. Wolfed down. I'm funny. I snaked a breakfast sandwich from Vaughn, unwrapped it, and handed it under the table to Mason, scratching behind his ears and kissing the top of his head. There you go, baby. Are you still hungry? Mary Ann bit back a goofy smile, while Vaughn chuckled in his suggestive way that always made it sound like he was thinking about something dirty. What? I asked them. Mary Ann shook her head, but Vaughn had no qualms speaking his mind. You just called Mason baby. He's like almost a decade older than you, and a seasoned warrior. He's matruculent. Those are some of the strongest creatures in Tearaway. You just called him baby. I really want you to repeat this whole scene when he's a man again. Vaughn bit into his sandwich and grinned. Mason growled irritably at Vaughn, but returned to his sandwich otherwise unperturbed. He maintained his position of laying on my feet, ensuring either that he didn't think I was being a freak, or that he forgave me for being one. Either way, I really kind of loved my new dog. Danny surreptitiously eyed my every fidget, so to compensate, I moved slower as the others ate. How I wished I could have spent my weekend with my brother, but he was going off with his friends, and I was starting a new career in death. When the doorbell rang, I expected Gabby and geared myself up for a stream of lies to spew at her. I knew I would have to explain why I went from being a hermit she had to drag out of the house to go to bars and clubs to hosting 2 new guys, a wolf and an almost sister here. Mason accompanied me like a shadow as I moved through the immaculate house to the living room. I flung open the door, but didn't find my spunky BFF. Instead, I was greeted by Bev, who had a smile and a box full of junk. Hi, honey pie. I was just in the neighborhood and thought I'd stop by to visit. She gasped when she saw Mason. Is that a wolf? Oh, no, it's my new dog. Looks like a wolf though, right? That's why I got him. His name's Mason. Oh, he's so cute. Does he have a bed? We have to go shopping for a new doggy bed. I bit my lower lip before speaking. No thanks, Bev. He sleeps in my bed with me. That's real sweet of you to offer. Mason inched closer and brushed his side up against my leg. That same slow drip started up again, and I felt the tension that usually peaked when Bev came over lessen by the slightest degree. And look, I found 2 garage sales on the way over. Isn't this great? She pointed to a lamp with tiny seashells on the side. She motioned to the car in the driveway with her chin. Do you have company? I would have did my hair if I'd known you'd have people over. Her blonde do was usually coiffed higher, but she wasn't out of sorts by any means. I've never left the house looking anything less than ready to have her picture taken, should the occasion arise. I closed my eyes when Danny skulked over. Good morning, Mrs. Reese. Bev almost dropped her box of crap. She was so surprised to see Ezra's daughter's special friend at my house. Her voice moved up an octave, and her tone turned syrupy, with an extra layer of her southern lilt. Danny! Well, color me surprised. What are you doing here with my October Grace? We got to talking, and she offered to show us the town. Well, I'll be. You're being friendly? You're making nice with my fiancé's family? Good for you, honey pie. I knew you had it in you. Here, can you hold on to this for me? Mind you store it somewhere safe now. She shoved the box into my arms and pulled out an imaginary ball from her pocket and showed it to Mason. Here, boy, fetch! She flung the fake ball across the living room. Mason looked up at me with a bored expression before trotting off after the nothing he guessed he was supposed to find in the corner. My hands burned with the sting of germs and dust that radiated off the box I knew I did not want in my house. No, Bev, you know the rules. I lowered my voice, but there was no hiding my words from Danny, who was standing right next to me. I tried to hand the box back to her, but she breezed past me to see who else was over. I was shaking inside, afraid they would see my childhood for what it was, a giant mess. I didn't want to cause a scene, but Bev and I had rules. I let her come visit, and she agreed not to bring anything over to store in my house. Bev was the life of the party. She had that way about her. You could say 5 words, and she had a million hilarious stories that would have even the most stalwart person laughing their socks off. Bev entertained while I took the box of junk to her car, shoving it in the back seat atop several layers of fast food wrappers, maggots, clothing, and other things that had been things once upon a time, but had since fallen into disrepair. I tried not to let my heart break, as it always did when I thought about my mama driving around in such inhumane conditions. I wanted to clean her car. I never stopped wanting to clean up her life, but knew that she would beat me something awful if I threw out even a wrapper. What are you doing? Came Ollie's low voice from over my shoulder. Jeez, you scared me, Ollie. Hey, I'm just putting Bev's stuff back in her car. His expression was composed, but his posture was rigid with displeasure as his damp auburn hair dripped down into his folded collar. I saw Mason trot out the door to watch our exchange from the front porch. Did you let her do this? What about the rules? I don't let her bring stuff over, but sometimes she tries to sneak stuff in. I always put it back in her car before she leaves. I scratched the back of my neck under my ponytail. I didn't want to tell you. How long? Ollie snapped the rubber band on his wrist that he always wore. It was part of his anger management sessions. The smack of rubber was supposed to remind him not to lose his temper. These days, it had about a 50% success rate of centering him, which was a vast improvement from a few years ago. How long has Bev been trying to sneak stuff into our house? Since you left. I never let her, though, so it's no big deal. No big deal? We'll see about that. Ollie turned on his heel, his takedown face in full swing. Bev! He barked as he reached the house. I scampered behind him, with Mason on my heels, not wanting them to get into a fight during the few days I had with him. No, Ollie, it's fine. I can handle it. Ollie stomped inside, cutting right into Bev's bit about the motorcycle that almost killed her on her first ride and the officer who saved her life. She'd managed to talk her way into having the cop drive her to motorcycle safety classes that weekend. It was a good story, but Ollie was in no mood. Bev, a word. Outside right now. Oliver, everyone, isn't my son so handsome? I mean, just look at his haircut. Outside, Bev. Bev tried to laugh him off, but Ollie raised his voice to draw the attention of everyone in the room. Now! I flinched at the bark in him that only Bev ever brought about. Her mascaraed eyes sharpened and lasered in on her son with a hint of loathing. Excuse me, kids. I'll be right back. It seems someone left his manners in New York. As my brother marched Bev past me out onto the porch, I wrung my hands together. Ollie, it's fine. I've got it under control. Ollie, don't! Ollie slammed the door shut behind him and Bev, but I could make out shouting on the porch that I hoped was unintelligible to the others. They were all gawking at me like guppies with their mouths hanging open. I had a hard time finding my voice, and when I did, it was the mousy version. So when do y'all want to leave? Now's good for me. Like, right now. Mary Ann was the only one with enough grace in her to appropriately word what they were all thinking. October, is everything all right? Ollie seemed a bit upset. I tried to swallow, but my mouth was too dry. Everything's fine. Just a little family stuff. Nothing to talk about. I flinched when Bev's voice rose above Ollie's. She didn't like it when Ollie stood up to her. She didn't much like it when anyone did. That's how I learned to get her to not hate me so much. I stopped standing up to her so overtly. So can you pack that food up? We should leave. Like, now, if we can. Super now. 5 minutes ago now. Danny huffed. Vaughn, do you need a manual? She needs you to pull this family drama from her. Look what she's doing to her hands. He pointed to my fingers that were scratching the backs of my left hand. I didn't even realize I was doing it. Whenever she does that, it means you're not doing your job. Have you ever seen Mary Ann bite her nails? No, because I do my job. I'm fine, jeez, I exclaimed as Vaughn stood, shoving half an egg sandwich in his mouth. I held up my hands to Vaughn and Mason, who were closing in on me like I needed to be handled. Let's just go. I don't need you doing that pulling thing. Family stuff is nothing new, and it's not a big deal. Ollie and Bev just have to get into it every now and then. He hasn't seen her for a few years, so they're overdue. Ollie flung the door open, ignoring our audience as he fumed in my direction. Never again. That'll never happen again. I had a talk with her, and she won't pressure you like that anymore. If she does, I want you to tell me first thing. I'm fine, Ollie. I told you I could handle it. He smacked the back of his hand into his palm for emphasis. Throwing her junk back in her car before she leaves isn't handling it. It's cleaning up after her, which you are not allowed to do. My hands flew out in frustration and hurt. Don't yell at me. Ollie loved me and was only ever nasty when it was on the backlash of a fight with Bev. Mason growled as he moved to my side, brushing against my leg and stripping a layer of stress from me. Ollie took a breath, his hands up in surrender. Fine. Sorry. I just don't like it when she does that. He pointed to the floor to punctuate his point. This is our house. We worked for every square foot. Bev doesn't get an inch of it, not a single inch. You know the damage she can do with an inch. I lowered my voice, hoping the separation between the kitchen and the entrance was enough so the others didn't hear our conversation. Look, I appreciate it, but the thing is, you're gone. You live in New York, and I deal with Bev. It sucks, but I'm fine. You yelling doesn't actually solve anything. Ollie and I glared at each other, locked in our usual stalemate. He didn't like Bev around me, and I didn't like either of them telling me what to do. I won't abandon our mama. Don't make me be someone I'm not. This is me, Ollie. Love me this way. She abandoned you from day one. She hasn't earned you taking care of her. I straightened, letting Ollie know he wouldn't win this. Love can't be earned. I love, and that defines me. It's not contingent on Bev's lists of good or bad deeds. This is me, I repeated in earnest. Love me this way. Finally, Ollie deflated, and I followed suit. I'm being a jerk to you, and the whole point was to help you with her. I do love you, whatever way you are. We've got a lot to catch up on. He turned and motioned me toward his room, so I followed. He pulled on a green hoodie from his suitcase, zipping it up as he spoke. He was so pressed and Wall Street looking for work, but he always made me smile when he came home for a break from the grind in his street clothes. Can we make some time to talk tonight? I got a few things I want to run by you. Sure. Anything important? He ducked his head almost apologetically. Kind of. Tonight? I nodded, bumping the crown of my head to his chest before exiting out into the kitchen. Ollie waved his goodbye and left the house after Bev skidded down the driveway, and with him, he took about 20% of my nerves. With a determined look, Vaughn took a step toward me, but I backed away. Please don't do your pulling thing on me. I'm fine. We're strictly business here, so let's get to it. I narrowed my eyes at Mason. That means you too, pup. I felt you pull something just then when Ollie was yelling. I can handle it. Danny rolled his eyes at me. You're being stubborn. Their job is to help you. You have no idea the kind of stress you're walking into, so it's best you have a clean slate. I said I'm fine. If I get the urge to spontaneously burst into tears, I let you know, I lied. I shoved my feet into my purple tennis shoes that had 3 white stripes climbing up the sides. They were comfortable, good for standing on your feet all day, and felt like a second skin I didn't have to question. They were exactly what I needed to make sure I didn't let myself get too swept away from myself by tearaway. I opened the front door like a bellman, ushering each of them out into the early morning sunshine. My stomach was in knots, but my chin was high, and hopefully my weak spots were invisible. And that is the end of chapter 30. We are flying through this book. Every Tuesday, come back to this channel. Subscribe, please, so that it'll give you a little ding ding notification that a new chapter has been posted. Every Tuesday, I will read you another chapter of Taste until we finish the whole book. Until then, have a good week, and I'll see you next Tuesday on Tuesdays with Tuesday.